You all refer to him as Otis, but I've always known him as Omar. I will say, like, he was very charming, bought me flowers, you know. I had gotten on dating website, and it just so happened Otis was on the website. And we both shared a couple of things in common, but one of them being that we went to the same high school. And so I was like, jogging my memory, and I was like, okay, I do vaguely remember him, but I don't remember seeing much of him because as far as I knew, he was like in an alternative school. So they were in a completely separate school than we were, but they were still part of our class. So I was like, okay, I vaguely remember who you are. And so it just so happened he was like, well, I'm in Richmond as well as you. And so that's how we connected, or reconnected, really.
She said at the beginning of the relationship that Otis was very charming. And it wasn't until later in the relationship where she discovered that he had an anger problem.
He asked me to take him home one night from his job. And okay, great, I'll take you home. Only to find out his home was a halfway house. And I was like, wait a minute, what is this? And then he lets me know, oh, I just got out of jail. And I didn't necessarily pry, but I was like, for what, you know? And he was like, oh, it was for like beating up somebody, something, you know, nothing against women or anything like that. So I was like, okay, I'm just kind of shocked that you wouldn't lead with that, but okay, still very charming, very kind.
Romani was comfortable enough with Otis Tucker to bring her young son around him and often dropped him off at a house on Stockton Street where there were some babysitting services. And then she tells a story of one night going to pick up her son. She put him in the car and Otis and her got into a disagreement.
It wasn't until my mom kind of stepped in, and honestly, that was one of the biggest red flags for me when she met him. And she was like, it's something about him. It's something in his eyes, Monty. I don't like it. And that's when, as a mom too, I was like, if my mom feels that way, that was the only time I've ever genuinely understood my mother being scared and my maternal instinct kicking in at that point.
How was he with your son?
Very careful, very kind. Like I said, he didn't show anything that worried me until he did. And that's when I was like, pump the brakes immediately. When that happened, that was where he crossed the line with me.
And what is that? What's that instance you're speaking of?
One evening, we had gotten into a very, very bad argument. I don't remember the specifics, but it was evening time. I picked my son up. I just picked my son up, and we were outside of the house and Stockton and arguing. And it got so intense. His rage, I had never seen that in anybody that I have ever known. It was terrifying. And I was like, my son was in the back seat witnessing this level of yelling and anger and rage. It was terrifying. And that man grabbed my car door. This was a brand new car I had just gotten. And he proceeds to damn near rip that door off of the car with his bare hands. I had never seen him.
It was almost like it had happened 2 days before we did the interview. It was fresh in her mind, and it's been over 10 years, and it was still fresh. She was shaking, she was nervous, she was crying.
I was so scared. I called the cops. I was like, absolutely, oh, because I could barely get in the car and close the door back because it was barely shutting because it was almost ripped, it was bent. So I get it closed and lock it and call the police, and he takes off running. And then the Richmond police are out there on a manhunt in that neighborhood, in that shopping center, looking for this man. And that's when I knew, oh, this is the problem. I reached out to his family and they were like, ma'am, we've been through a lot with him. And then here we go with more red flags. What else?
Do you consider yourself the one that luckily got away?
I do, and it's sad. It's sad.